Folks, welcome back to the Jake Feinberg Show. I'm joined again today by percussionist Larry McDonald. Larry, it's great to have you back on the program.
I'm glad to be back, Jake. It seems as if we ran out of time the last time.
Will you tell me what you wanted to expand on?
No, you tell me what you wanted. What interested you that you wanted to.
The one thing that what's so funny is that it was in spirit. The energy was just so positive that I really enjoy talking to you. But when you said you went to Mexico, I said that needs to be explored more. What were your motivations, and can you relay your experiences there?
Well, I had just finished playing the tourist season. The season is from December 15th to April 15th, or it used to be back in the day. It was called the tourist season, like bird season or something.
Right.
Poor choice of words, but that's what it was. And I was playing at the Jamaica Playboy with Cecil Lloyd, a piano player called Cecil Lloyd.
Yes.
Great piano player.
You mentioned him before.
Yeah. And he came to me one day and said, one of the calypso groups, strictly speaking, when I say calypso in relation to Jamaica, I do mean mento, but everybody calls it calypso because the forms are similar.
Sure.
So, he said there's this calypso group going to Mexico, and they needed a drummer. And I said, okay, that's me.
They need a trap drummer. They need a trap drummer, or they need
no, hand drummer.
Hand drummer.
Those groups didn't use
trap set.
Trap drummers.
Right.
Bongos and
That's cool.
A rumba box. A rumba box is a oversized kalimba, as you call it, mbira, that you sit on and play. It has like 3-4 keys.
It's different from it's different from a cajon, like different.
Yeah, it's different. It's different from the cajon.
Yeah, okay, but you sit on it.
You sit on it, and it has like 3-4 keys, and over an opening in the box, and it's attached, and you plug those.
Right. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's usually that plus a singer who plays maracas and 1 or 2 guitar players, depending. So they had a gig at Delmonico's in Mexico, in Calle Londres. And they said, would you like to come? I said, I'm in.
Yeah, right.
I hadn't been to Mexico, so
Sure.
I went up there. The first weekend, I got there on the weekend, and that was the weekend when they had the Newport Jazz Festival in Mexico.
Wow.
Where they did Jazz Impressions Mexico. Dave Brubeck did, and all that. And it was the highlight for me of my entire Mexico trip was the fact that I got to meet probably my favorite bebop player, Monk.
You got to meet Monk.
I met Monk, invited him to the show, and he came and sat through 2 shows. Him and his wife, Nellie, and I think Charlie Rouse was with him at the time.
Wow.
And, to have that happen on the first weekend, it was...
What a great...
Monk and Bird are the foundation of my whole thing. I love Monk and Bird.
Why?
Huh?
Explain why.
So, why?
Why do you love... It's because of their style of music. I mean, I want you to explain, because what you're talking about is a divide in what we call, in music. There's that divide between very rigid, and then just playing your guts out with technique. You go ahead. That's what I want you to talk about.
No, I was listening to like bebop before I even started to play.
Right.
Anything. Because I didn't start playing until I was like 24 or thereabouts. So I was listening to bebop and all that. That was the thing. So that's what everybody who was playing and wanted to play was aspiring to. So for me to meet Monk, because Bird had died in '55, I think, and it's like I remember crying when Bird died. I don't even know why.
Right.
And I didn't get a chance to meet him, but actually meet Monk, invite him to my show, and he came and sat through 2 shows. Remember, Monk used to live in Little San Juan in New York City, so he was kind of accustomed to hearing
the calypso, the island music.
Yeah, the island music.
Island music,
yeah.
That's great. That is so and he loved it, right?
Oh, he stayed for both shows.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely epic. That's why I do. That's why I do this show.
I know it kind of tripped him out. Part of the act, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have the obligatory limbo dance.
Of course.
At the end of the show. Well, before that, the lead dancer, King Lee, he was like about 6'3", and he hadn't weighed under 180 since he was like 14. And he went round to the tables, right? He had a burlap sack. Went round to the tables and took all the empty beer bottles, put them in the sack, took it up on stage, broke the bottles, all of it, took out the necks and the bottoms, and would dance on that. Threw them on a cloth, on a big cloth, and he danced on the broken bottles.
Wow.
And then he lit them on fire, and he'd run from one end of the stage to the other and leap in the air and land on the bottles. Well, in the nights when we were going to do that dance, he and I would be together like from the night before, and none of the dancers or anybody else spoke to us. We just sat there and vibed, all day. They didn't cook for us. They didn't do anything for us. They just sat there. We just sat there, and I was kind of scared, because I knew if I made a mistake, he'd get seriously cut.
I don't know how you were supposed to prevent that. I thought you were going to say that his feet he just lived on with pain, but did it all the time. You're telling me he never got cut?
No, not. We'll get to that.
Wow. Okay.
So this night, we did it, and then after he did all this kind of stuff, rolling around in it, no cuts, nothing, and then they swept the stage and came back for the limbo. Now, the limbo, it gets down to a point where the bar is on 2 small Coke bottles, and it's wrapped with cotton, soaked with lighter fluid, and he light it, and he'd go under that.
Wow.
Well, figure him at 200 and change, going under that little bar on 2 Coke bottles without dislodging the bar. Do you understand that while he was dancing and waiting to go under the bar, there was one little glass splinter left on the floor, and you'd be surprised at how much he bled.
Wow.
What happened was,
Wow. That's so.
when you're doing that, you're in a head. Your head's in a way, you know.
Uh-huh.
Your mind is like in a different place,
Right.
and that was over. You know, so his mind wasn't there anymore. So he was back down to where everybody else normally is. And that splinter cut him. It bled so much. You know, it didn't stop the show. But wow.
Wow.
You know. So when you said if he never got cut, yes, he got cut, but not while doing the dance.
Wow. It's
know,
like literally that's like, yeah, that's like, you got to thread the needle on that. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, Larry, I'm at a point in my career where that's where I'm at. And like I have to thread a needle. You did that in a performance setting. I mean, I don't want to sound naive, but I don't have much money to travel with my family. I mean, is there anywhere in the world where that kind of stuff is still going on at that kind of? You assume it's still going on at a more like.
It still goes on in the hotels in Jamaica, the floor shows that they have at night.
But you were just.
It still goes on in Nassau in the Bahamas. It still goes on all over.
It's as authentic. It's as true. It's not been sort of. I mean, I think that's the whole problem I have with music now. Is like when you guys were in the studio, you had to hit it, and there was no. You had to do it one time, and you cut it, and you did it, and now everything can be fixed. So it's not the real thing, and therefore it's sterile, and that's what I hear. Even though I was, I can only feel that, but but you're telling me that performance is done in the same kind of fashion in the Bahamas and those areas.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. You know, bottle dance, limbo dance, fire dance. You know, it's they have, you see, in the hotels they used to have calypso band and a regular band, a band that does the but with the Playboy Jamaica, they used to bring in a new singer and a new comedian every 2 weeks.
Right.
That's where I met Pat Morita.
Pat Morita.
Karate Kid.
Oh my God!
He was a comedian on the Playboy circuit.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, definitely. In the middle of his act, one night he looked around at me and said, "Larry, do you think it would have been better for your people if my people had won the war?"
Dude, he is just. That's great. So it was like, would you perform in conjunction with him, or would he have a set and then you'd play a set?
No, we played the hand. We were on stage with the comedian, and we were on stage with the singer.
But it wasn't like Oscar Brown kind of thing, where Ron wasn't like singing tunes with you.
No, it wasn't like a kind of that boom chick hits,
Yeah, no, I kind of get off on that. I kind of get off on that.
It wasn't that kind of thing. It just, we were just there, sitting up, and waiting for the singer to come on, and it was more fun sitting up there listening to Pat than going off stage and doing whatever.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, I totally get it. And then
he was a hilarious comedian, man.
That is. And is he past us now? Has he left us?
What's that?
Yeah, he left.
He left us. He left us.
Oh man. So I mean, were there?
And the number he gave me. In Tarzana.
Wow.
He had a number out there, and years later, when they changed the area codes and all that stuff out there, I just changed the area code and called his number one day because I hadn't spoken to him in years, and he picked up the phone. I said, "Is this Pat?" He says, yeah. I said, this is Larry. He said, Larry from Playboy? I said, where's Trevor? Where's so-and-so? And he remembered everybody, and this is like, oh.
Yeah, years.
You know, it
Decades.
Yeah.
That's so, wow.
And he had a lot of allergies, you know. I was allergic to quite a bunch of stuff. He brought all his medicine, everything, because he said he might not make it back to Jamaica. He wanted to try everything. You know, the comestibles, the potables, and the combustibles.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So we had a great time. We had a great time.
Oh, that's, you know, there was another cat I wanted to ask you about when you first met Vince Charles.
Met who?
Vince. His name was Vince Charles. He was like a steel. He was a drummer, Jamaican drummer. You played with him on Monty Alexander album.
Oh, Chili Charles.
Vinny. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you tell me about that cat? He's an inspiring guy. You know, I know that you guys played, and he's from Jamaica. So I wanted you.
No. You're probably thinking of Roger Bethelme.
Who am I talking? I'm talking about Charles. Vinny, the guy you.
But Chili Charles, he still lives in L.A.
Wow.
He still lives in L.A. and he's into producing movies now and stuff like that.
Wow.
Or directing movies or whatever, you know.
Did you know him from, when did you first cross paths with him, down in Jamaica?
No, I met him in California. In California. He played a Taj for me. He did a European tour with Taj for a minute.
That's part of the.
No, I did meet him. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I met him in Trinidad. I went down for a carnival. I was playing with the Carlos Malcolm Afro-Jamaican Orchestra. And we went down for a carnival. And we didn't have return bookings. So we just had to stay and hope we could get on the plane in the after carnival rush. And so we'd be hanging out with at Happy Williams, bass player.
Sure.
Yeah, at his mom's place, Joan. We were hanging out there. So, you know, there's a family of bass players. So John Buddy Williams was his dad, I think. Very wicked bass player from Trinidad.
John B. Williams?
John Buddy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a guy that from the same generation, Harold Land and Bobby Hutcherson, in that generation?
No, I don't. No, I'm not. No, I'm not talking American. This guy is from Trinidad.
Oh, he's a Trinidad. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
You know, that's where Chile is from. So we all used to hang out on the wall at night, and then in the morning we go plane side to see if we could get seats on the plane. And you know, you get 2 seats, 2 people go, and the rest come back, and we waited. And that's where I met. That's where I met Chili Charles. The drummer that's currently with Taj Mahal, Kester Smith, I met him there too, in Trinidad, with one of the giants of Trinidadian music named Andre Tonker. He's left us too, I think. But I met Smitty there. So when I walked off the plane and walked into rehearsal at Taj's house, there was Smith. I said, I know you. He said, yeah, I know you too. We did a gig up in a place called Perseverance the night before Carnival. And Carlos played and Andre played. Shoot. How did we get all the way up here?
It don't matter. No, this is fine. I love, Did you go to Africa on tours? Did you go to Lagos or Nigeria?
No, I didn't. No, I went to South Africa twice.
Yes.
While I was with Gil Scott Heron.
Could you talk about the messages that he was? I love that period. What was that experience like? Especially with the messages that he was bringing to the people.
Who, Gil?
Yeah.
Well, when we finally got to play the song Johannesburg in Johannesburg.
Mm.
You know, so
wow.
somebody asked somebody in America asked him at an interview or something like that. They said how does it feel to be the first one to be singing about the imprisonment of Nelson Mandela and all this kind of thing? And you know, you said you were so early with it. So Gil looked at him and said, "When I did that song, Mr. Mandela was already in jail like about 12 years. Do you think he thought it was too early?"
Wow. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
lost one of the great voices, and we lost Gil. You know.
Yeah, there's nobody I love more than Gil, and just actually the like you said, the stone genius of that guy. And there, but I think a genius also knows that they all want to put people around them that are going to really blow out, increase the ambient sound, make it swing, and that's what you did for him, and that's just like and that's missing for so many cats today because there just isn't the infrastructure, the appreciation, or the financial support for this kind of music, and that's just, at the end of the day, if I can ever get to a syndicated position, I want to be the next Charlie Rose. I want to be the next Larry King. That's where I'm at now. That's where my chops are at. So I would bring a whole new segment of the population that has never been heard from, really. MTV does not do this. MTV is like, they interview, Frank Zappa. I was watching this interview with Zappa, and, I just know I have the chops to do that kind of interviewing, and I want to be able to bring you guys into the fold because you promote very good, through your stories and sort of through your attitude and spirit. That's a good positive force. And of course, for the companies, it's going to have to find a way to make money. So I'll probably have to do, sensational stuff and cover this, what people want to hear, all the superfluous crap. But, we'll see. I think I'm just trying to get out in front. And, I wanted to ask you, though, about, how did Taj get word about about Larry McDonald, Taj Mahal?
Well, Taj had done this album called Mo Roots, and he had recorded Slave Driver, which is a Bob Marley tune, and Johnny Too Bad, which was a Slickers tune, a tune by the Slickers. And unbeknownst to me, Bob had stayed at his house. Bob and Family Man, Bob's bass player, Aston Barrett, had stayed at Taj's house and helped them to mix the two reggae songs. And Family Man played keyboard on Slave Driver. But I didn't know any of all this. So now, I think I might have mentioned before, I went down to, I came up from Beaufort, South Carolina. We got fired from the gig. The band leader threatened to kick the entertainment manager's ass, and they wouldn't have any of that. So we were out of there. 4th of July, 74.
What was this was the Afro...
No, this is, I came up here originally to an organization called the International Jazz Library that was based in Indianapolis.
Wow.
Because the founder of that organization had come down to Jamaica, and he ended up teaching at one of the schools. He's a saxophone, flute, keyboard player. Then Bill Barnwell. He still lives in Beaufort, South Carolina. That's where he's from.
Wow.
So he was in Indianapolis, and after coming from Jamaica, he invited me to come up to play and teach at the school. Then we moved to Beaufort, South Carolina, like in April of the next year, and we were playing on Hilton Head Island. This was before Hilton Head was a strip mall.
Right.
and,
yeah, it's I mean, but what was it?
It was a classic joint, okay? The
Yeah.
hotel we were playing at, Yvonne Goolagong was a tennis pro, so it was no dive, it was no Fleabag.
Right.
Okay.
Right. No, I get it.
So they had a discussion, and we came out on the short end of it. So after that, my girlfriend from Jamaica was working at the tourist board. She was transferred to New York, and she was in the New York office. So I came up, and we were hanging for a while. And this day, I went down to see her. And I met this guy who was road manager for Taj. And he called me the next day and asked me. No, he called me right that same day and asked me and told me what was happening and would I like to go out with them. So I said, yes, that'd be cool. When do you want me? So, when do you want me? So, look, remember, I'm fresh from Jamaica, right? I don't know how monumental a move this is for me.
Sure.
You know, I know he's a good musician and he's out there, and I knew his name from before, but I did not know how heavy all that stuff was. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, sure, when you want me to come? So he called me back in 20 minutes, and I caught the plane the next day and went out there. And I was with him from 74 through 78. And they were going to Britain. And my papers were not in order at the time. I'm cool now, y'all, so don't come looking for me. I'm straight. You know, but at the time, my stuff was really funky, and I couldn't go. And that's a gig that Chili Charles went to Europe on. And I have a picture of all the drummers. It was Rocky Gijournou. He and I were the percussionists at Taj. He is the conga player. He was the conga player on Sympathy for the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
The Stones. That's a lot of people don't know who that was. Can't even pronounce his name.
How many times, like what I love is that it instills my faith when I hear, because like if the internet was around when you were in New York City, like, you know, Taj's road manager, I mean, if he came up to you, you'd know who he was. Maybe.
But he was Jamaican, see?
Yeah, right. So I'm just saying, it's just so he was Jamaican, and you guys just rapped for a while, and he got a good feel, and was like, I'm going to call Larry. Is that basically what happened?
No, I must admit, I came up here with a slight reputation, right? A little rep I had. So,
right.
When I met him, it was, hi, how you doing, on the whole thing. And then when I went home, the phone rang. I think I told you that last time. The phone rang, and he said, hey, man, I just met you, but I didn't know you were you.
No, you didn't tell me that. You didn't say that.
Yeah. Well,
that's funny.
But that's why he said that he knew of me, because I had just come to the country, but I was kicking up a little dust back in Jamaica.
You never told him your name?
Yeah, yeah. And he knew, and he knew. Janet was my girlfriend,
Right.
and everything. So she told him, but it never registered.
Wow, that is
Like it never registered until after I had left, and then he called, and that's how I came with Taj. We still cool. I still have his number.
I was going to say, what could you talk a little bit about your studio activities? Like when you weren't on the road, were you a first call musician? I mean, the All Music Guide, you're the records that you're on. They're very they have an edge to them. There's a taste to them, and I'm just wondering like how you got into the. You weren't a massive studio player, but you were there.
Hold on. No, there's somebody trying to come.
It's all right. You want to go? You want to take it? You can take it.
No.
We can just edit this out. It's all good.
Huh? Okay, hold on.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you understand my question? Just basically, how did you immerse yourself in the studio scene?
How did I?
How were you called on? Like, we played that off that soundtrack with from our first interview with the N-word in it, and you were on that soundtrack.
No, I didn't have any recording contract.
No. I'm saying like, how did you get called for studio work? Like, how did you get yourself into the studio scene in New York, or what city you were living in?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't like actively trying to do that. Okay. How I got my union card, right?
Right.
I was still in California, and they were doing an ill-fated play called Reggae, and they were doing it on Broadway. This was 1980. It was way too early.
I give him credit for trying.
Nobody had an understanding
right.
of the whole thing.
Right.
And they took it Broadway, and I don't think it worked. But I got called for that by Howard Johnson. They wanted Howard to be musical director.
Sure.
And I met Howard when he came out to do a concert with the Taj Mahal and the Oakland Symphony. Hang on, please.
Yeah.
I met Howard when we did that concert with the Oakland Symphony, and somehow you remember when they called him for this gig, he told them that they should call me, and they brought me out here, and my paper still wasn't right, but I went in to the union. They sent me down to the union to get the card and the whole thing. And I was pretty brash. They asked me why do you think we should give you this union card? Because I just said, because I'm the best at what I do for what they want.
That's right. That's the way you gotta feel, man. That's the way you gotta be.
I didn't have anything to lose, and it's like it's like I was sitting on across the room and hearing myself.
I know where you're going with this.
Whoa.
No, but it's all It's
but anyway, that's how I got the union card. The play opened in the same week they had a transit strike, and that along with everything else. It was a Michael Butler production.
Yeah, they were. The idea was ahead of its time, I guess. or the.
Yeah, and it was a good idea, right? But I think it was more Broadway than it was reggae.
Right.
So you know who came out? You know who came out of that play? Sherry Lee Rouse did that play.
Oh.
Obaba Batunde did that play. Calvin Lockhart was in that play. And Philip Michael Thomas was in that play. You know, so it had, among other people who are not quite as well known. But it was pretty strong. It was a pretty good idea, but they knew Broadway, they didn't know reggae.
Did the music come short? I mean, the musical component of it, or just the play itself wasn't well written?
The music, I think the music survived it.
Are there any like YouTube clips? Yeah. Go ahead.
It was like, it was kind of okay, but like, I personally didn't want okay. You know, I wanted it to hit. And they got a lot of people. They had a lot of Jamaicans involved in it.
Sure.
But it's like, for some reason, it lasted about a week.
Wow.
You know, transit strike and for whatever reason.
Right. And it was
they should try that. No, they should try that sucker now.
You as the musical director of it.
They should try that now. But to answer your question, I wouldn't actually like trying to.
Yeah, no, man, I dig it, man. I'm, you know, it's. I mean, some cats. I mean, when it finds you, you don't need to do that. You know, when it comes to you, and through that rudiment, you know, the rudiments, just knowing that you are capable of doing it. I mean, I think that going down to the union and saying that's the only thing you could have said. Otherwise, you wouldn't be being truthful.
I had to get the card, and the theater sent me over there. You know, so I probably would have got it, but he just asked me that out of the blue. So I just answered him, you know, like I just told him what my thoughts were on the subject, actually.
Right.
You know, at the time it was probably right. There's probably a bunch of cats back there right now that would cut me to ribbons, but.
Yeah, did you when you were touring with Taj? What were his tours like? I mean, how was it set up during the year? Would you go out for spring, summer, and winter, fall tour?
Yeah, the first tour I went out on, I think, was like 6 weeks or something like that. And we went all over the country. And you know, at the time I hadn't grown my hair. My hair wasn't growing. Like, and when I went out to places like in the hinterland, you know, Moscow, Idaho,
right,
and places like that.
Off the reservation, yeah.
Yeah, I came home, you know, and I kind of had an idea that the music would get here. Not that it would be the force that it currently is, or the force that it became, but I had an idea that more than one Jamaicans and more than one Rastaman was going to be coming through there. You know, so I said, well, seeing as I'm early, I'm going to grow my hair, and when people challenge me or ask me about it, you know, I can explain to them, so the next time they see it, it won't be strange. You know, and that was like my contribution to the movement. You know, I said, let me do this so I can declare myself and let people.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to cut your hair short. You're going to grow it the way you.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So when you
That
go,
was
so you're saying
that was
so.
75, that was 75, and I haven't been to a barber since.
So you're saying, but when you would go off the beaten path, people would be like asking you about that, and you just that's your contribution. I mean, I think so. Are you saying that this is kind of cool? How early were you the first cat from Jamaica to come to the States?
No.
But you got here early.
I came up here in '73.
Yeah, that.
But the music, reggae music, hadn't really got here yet. You know, like on the other side of the Atlantic, you had Millie Small with My Boy Lollipop and her stuff. And then there was a record by Bunny Wailer called Arab Oil Weapon during the first oil crisis.
Wow.
The very first oil crisis. You know, when they had ships backed up out of New Jersey because they didn't have anywhere to offload the oil, but there was still an oil crisis.
You're right.
And Bunny Wailer did a song called Arab Oil Weapon. But I think America really got introduced to reggae by the movie The Harder They Come.
Absolutely.
I think that was a signature moment, right? The Harder They Come. And it took a while. It took a while, but hey, here we are.
No, but I got to tell you, man. Like, well, number one, that Harder They Come came out 6 years before I was born. So it was like, and I look at that as a seminal movie. And then the thing is that you look at the white cats that were getting off on Jimmy Cliff. Guys like Jerry Garcia. They incorporated it into their steady routine. I mean, reggae was immensely popular among people who were looking for the Doors, John Densmore. Yeah, were you part of the Butts band with John Densmore? Yeah, dude. Densmore.
They came down to Jamaica.
Oh my God! I was gonna say I
got conducting credits on the record that they did.
Yeah, you were a producer.
Yeah, Philip Chen is my friend.
Who is he?
Philip Chen, bass player. He plays with the Doors currently. He used to play with He used to be Rod Stewart's bass player.
Oh, are you? Wait, hold on for a second, man. I'm a little bit confused. Okay, you're talking about, please, because I interviewed Densmore like a year ago, and I interviewed John Densmore about a year ago, and we did the same same thing that we're doing now, and I played.
No, but he wasn't touring with those guys.
No, he was on a book tour because he just wrote about he wrote about the whole settlement, the loss, whatever, the fact that two guys wanted to go on the road as the Doors, he didn't feel it was right, so he was on a book tour here locally, but that Butts band, they made. Please tell me what year they came there, because the second album, there's a guy named.
I'm not good with years, but I hadn't been to the States yet. I didn't come to the States yet. Who hipped you? Who connected? This is absolutely vital information. How did you connect with them? Well, in Jamaica, I was doing stuff in the studios. So if they had stuff that they think they might need me, they'd call me. And I got a call, and I went down there, and that was that. The same thing with Al Jackson and Steve Cropper. They came down there doing some stuff when Booker T and them broke up.
Really?
They came down and was doing some stuff. They called me for that.
No, I want to go. But I mean, was the bass player? Because I thought it was a guy named Carl Rucker. But you said somebody different was the bass player
On the Butts band.
on the Butts band.
I'm trying to remember who it was. It might have been Philip Chen. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Don't say I say.
No. I just some of that bass playing and the and the drumming, the rhythms were they coming down there? Were those, like, was Densmore were you able to kind of help him with the with the rhythm part of it, or did he just sort of fall right into it?
No, I was like analyzing what was going on. I just, listened to what was happening and fell into it.
Philip Chen was the bass player. Wow, I had no. It's one, because I'm a big record collector. So when I find these albums, and then I see that you're the producer. I mean, they gave you producer credits. I'm like, that's one of the greatest bands. But see, those cats knew that was before you came to the States. So you already knew the impact that reggae had on the hip, on the greatest music, on the cats. Those cats knew what it was just so refreshing, it was beautiful.
Yeah, well, whenever reggae grabs a hold of anything that comes in its path, it just takes a hold of it and I guess bends it to its will.
Can you talk a little bit about your musical ventures these days? What kind of engagements do you do?
Well, right now, okay. Currently, whenever Lee Scratchberry comes to the country, I tour with him. The last few years. I'm also I was involved in a band called Dub Is a Weapon that hadn't done anything in about 2 years. So I'm taking it that it's defunct.
I know that band.
I do also with another band called Rocksteady 7, which is we go to Europe like once a year. We're going
wow.
in next January.
How long do you go?
This is all Rocksteady reggae groups, right?
Uh-huh.
There's all the ska groups, the ska, Rocksteady, all the groups in the city, the American groups that play Jamaican music. I have done a lot of work. You know a group called the Slackers?
Yeah.
Well, ever since Red Light, I am on every Slackers album, just about. I'm an ex-officio Slacker, right?
I
currently play with another group called the Brooklyn Attractors, who are opening for the Slackers at their annual Christmas show on the 20th.
Which is where?
December. And Jamaican artists who are doing stuff here.
Where's that gig going to be at? The Christmas gig? What venue?
On the 20th. On the 20th of December at the Bell House in Brooklyn.
The Bell House. I wish I was heading back east. I'd come see you, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to come see you play. You're in California? I'm in Tucson, Arizona, but my folks. I'm from Long Island. I mean, I'm from the New York area, so I love it out here. But most years we go back to the East Coast for the winter for the holiday. But I definitely, my goal is to come see Larry McDonald play with one of your groups, at some point. Be a high
Oh
honor.
well, I'm sure I'll be playing soon in a city near you. You know.
Yeah, I
We
mean, you
stay in
should,
touch.
yeah.
I have your number.
Well,
Whenever
here's the
I'm
thing. Yeah.
heading that way, I'll call you and tell you.
Yeah, you let me know if you're in Phoenix, man. I mean, whenever but I just sort of my concept of the guys that, we have a jazz festival, first annual jazz festival this coming up here in Tucson that we've ever had, and it's like guys like Burt Bacharach are coming in, like I just fundamentally it's like I'll interview Bert because he's an interesting character. Sure he's got some fascinating perspectives, but the idea that's what young generations are believing is really it's not the real thing. It's cool, but I really wish I had a little bit more creative control. Because I just feel like you guys are the ones that need to be recognized. And I just feel the music would be so much more powerful. And it would be more substantive, And I guess people just don't want that. They really just want to be pacified. They don't want the real shit.
Well, I don't know. I long ago gave up hope of going to a jazz a festival that's supposed to be jazz, and hearing just jazz.
Or
it doesn't really happen.
Yeah,
like that.
Right. Yeah, and
and that's okay, but call it what it is. It's a music festival.
Right.
It's not a jazz festival. I go to a jazz concert. I want to hear me something. Whether it's bebop, whether it's some avant-garde stuff, whether it's some stuff that ain't nobody heard about yet, play me some of that.
Yeah, play me some funky blues. Just But when was the last time that you played at a festival where you heard the music that you know it to be?
What's that?
You said it's been a long time since I've played or been at a festival where they're playing jazz music. Call it music, right? And I ask you, when was the last time you were at what is a memory you have of being at a festival where they were playing jazz? In your mind, it was jazz. What was that? What is a memory of that?
Well, let's see. Up here, not so much. It used to be like that in Jamaica, but it's not like that anymore. It would be like the Newport Jazz Festival. They have some form of Newport every year. And I don't know, man. Everything just seems to be like melting into one thing.
Mm.
And it's not that I want to separate everything, but there should be some identifying shit and some stuff that maintains, and that this is this. And then you can take this and twist it any which way you want and put all the other stuff with it or whatever, but it still maintains the identity, Because say the way I play, because of the fact that it's based on the most of it is based on the rhythms, the Jamaican rhythms that I heard. Because see, I'm self-taught, and like the first time I saw a Cuban band, right?
Sure.
It made me. It scared me shitless, so to speak. Because I realized that the stuff that I was trying to play play by myself was being played by a bongo player, a conga player, a timbale player, somebody playing maracas, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
What I was doing, I was just listening to the overall sound of the section and trying to play stuff that represents everything in the section. I didn't know no better. So I got sucked into trying to do that. And then I started focusing on the Jamaican music. Okay, when I came up here, I could play all that other stuff, but I could also play the stuff that was required up here too. So that's how come I got hired by American Band.
Right. You could play the pop.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could handle that. And one of the reasons why I came, I wanted to see, you know, if my stuff could really stand up in the august company of all these players, these tremendous players that you have up here. I mean, these are people whose names I just see on a record jacket.
Yeah, right.
You know, so to end up be sitting in with them and accepted by them at the level. I mean, it's still I'm not that old and jaded that I'm not still thrilled.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. Never lose that, you know.
You know, and so when I came up here, because the music wasn't traveling out of Jamaica yet, reggae music. When I said the music, that's what I mean.
Right.
It wasn't traveling that. So I didn't come up here expecting to play reggae. You know, I came up here to see if I could play with these cats up here. And so when I was doing that and then the music started to come, I said, you know, okay, I'm going to have to find my own way through this. So I went back because I used to play with like one of the greatest bands Jamaica ever seen. I used to go sit in with them, not play with them.
What was the name?
But they had a Rasta group, Count Ozzy.
Count Ozzy?
Yeah, Count Ozzy.
Wow.
I
read about that. Yeah, I know. Okay, I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he had a group, and then this tenor player, the late great Cedric Brooks, had come up here. I mean, Cedric was hanging with Sun Ra and those guys.
Yeah.
You know, and then he came back and put together a group called the Mystics.
Wow.
And then they joined with Count Ozzy, and it became the Mystic Revelation of Rastafari. That was the name of the band. You know, so like Sunday evenings, I would go up to where they play and sit in with them and hang with them. I knew Ozzy very well. As a matter of fact, the very first Caribbean Festival of the Arts that was held in Guyana, don't ask me which year. I have to research it and tell you. But
yeah, no, this is it's all relative, man.
You know, but we were all down in Guyana with that, and he died shortly after he came home.
Wow.
You know, and
do you? But this is so fast. I mean,
his son.
No, go ahead.
His son's name is Time. You know, I was a little kid when I used to hang out with them.
Wow, what a great name.
So, going back to what I started to say, I decided to pull on all that stuff. I did a stint with the National Dance Theater of Jamaica. You know, so all these rhythms I was learning. You know, when Lavinia Williams came from Haiti to hold classes, you know.
No, but I want to, Larry, I want
to. She brings a drummer with her. What's that?
No, I want to, this is so important. When you came here, did you help, because you said reggae had not yet made it to the States. It hadn't made it insofar as even the radio play? Or, I mean, as far as the rhythms itself, like, how did you merge the jazz with the reggae?
That merger happened in Jamaica. That didn't happen up here.
Okay, that happened in Jamaica.
That happened in Jamaica. Because it happened. Okay, like I said, first there was ska. Then there was rocksteady, then there was reggae. Most of the musicians who were playing in the studios in the beginning, they were all jazz musicians. There are musicians out there playing now and playing reggae who at the time didn't want to be associated with it. I'm not going to call any names because they're still alive.
It's fine.
You know.
Now, by the way, continue with your story. I just want to let you know, if my phone battery dies, I didn't hang up. I didn't hang up on you. Okay, and I will call you right back.
Okay.
Keep going though. Just keep going.
So all these guys were the ones who actually helped to codify the music. You know, like a singer would come in and he has one song, and the way he sings it, you know, it might have an extra 2 bars in the second verse or something. And if you try to put it in the orthodox form, he can't sing it.
Right.
Because he hears the 2 bars, right?
Right.
Are you still there?
I am. Yeah, no, I'm totally.
I just wanted.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. Yeah, I'm with you.
You know, so they played as he sang it. You know, they'd scratch it down on a piece of paper, hand out the parts, and you know, once down full up, and that was it. Ran it down, found out whatever mistakes they made or whatever, corrected it, and went with the red light. You know, so all these guys, the ska has a very strong jazz pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's really into the music now, and into that music?
What's that? Who's
Del
that?
Fayo Marsalis.
Really?
He goes down to Jamaica all the time.
Wow! I was just talking about him today. That's funny you bring him up. He loves Don Drummond. Right.
You know, like okay. If you want to listen to there's an album called Jazz Jamaica.
Sure. What year is it?
This was early 60s. Jazz Jamaica.
Okay.
If you want to hear what we were playing before then, jazz-wise, from a jazz standpoint.
Yeah.
Get that record.
That is so bad. Larry
Alphonse. Huh?
Go ahead. No, keep going.
It's got you know, Don Drummond, Roland Alfonso, Carl McLeod, one of the best jazz. Look, Carl McLeod had a press roll that was the closest thing to Blakey's press roll that I've heard. You know, and he's gone now. I was lucky enough to get him on my record like a little before he passed. And that record is pretty much representative of what we were trying to play before what is now called Jamaican music. came out. Before that developed.
You have any idea what label that would be on?
It was on Studio One.
So it was a Jamaican. It was a Jamaican pressing.
Yeah, it's a Jamaican label.
Would you consider at the time, was it? I just want to, I'd love to hear. I gotta find. It's not. Is it out in the digital world or it's only on vinyl?
It might be on CD now. It might be on CD. Sorry, it might be on CD now.
So
but, okay, I will. Let me make a note. Now I'll try and find it for you.
Yeah.
I'll try and track it down for you.
Who
it
is?
shouldn't be too hard.
I want to ask you a question. You mentioned a cat last time you played with him with Gil.
Who's this?
You mentioned a cat that you played with Gil with. I think he was like a French name of some sort. I think he played. Do you keep in touch with anybody from Gil, from the band you were in with Gil?
No, I was the first band, the band that did all the records, most of the records, was the Midnight Band, led by Brian Jackson.
Brian Jackson.
Gil Scott Heron, Brian Jackson, and the Midnight Band. And then that band broke up, and he put together another group that was the Amnesia Express. And we were playing the same music, but because of the different people who were playing it and the different conceptions, a lot of it came out way different. Like Home is Where the Hatred Is became like a 3-part thing called The Other Side.
Well, I mean, tell me that there are recordings of this stuff.
About recording for Gil?
No, I mean, I'm talking about the idea of you doing in this Amnesia. Are there like demo recordings of rehearsal, or when you're like? What I'm trying to say is, I would love to hear "Home Is Where the Hatred Is," but done different. In that sense.
I probably could find some cassette or two.
Just because it's. I mean, for me, that is. That's just not known. That's just fantastic. Just the idea that and you guys played. You were just playing gigs, and like you were inventing off of what was already created, and that's the coolest part. It's hybrids.
Well, clearly we couldn't, we couldn't be playing the same thing.
Never.
Like those guys,
of course.
We weren't those guys.
Of course.
But it was the same music.
Right.
See?
Right.
It was the same music, and the music could take the shifting around. It like we just try stuff at soundcheck, and he liked it, and it stayed.
Right. Right. You guys.
The first time that I heard "Home Is Where the Hatred Is," my brother who had a studio out in Long Island, out in Freeport.
Wow.
That was it. That was the premier reggae studio in New York in the 80s.
Are you kidding me? In Long Island.
In Long Island.
That is. I did. I was living right
across the way from the Freeport train station.
Long Island Railroad, baby.
Yeah.
Oh my! Yeah, I was living in Stony Brook that entire time.
Stony Brook. My brother had a reggae radio program with the Stony Brook.
WUSB.
On the radio,
That's right. Yeah, no, I mean that place was a very active.
On the college radio station, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's where my dad worked, and that's where I grew up. That's funny.
Yeah.
So you you go to the studio out in Freeport.
No, so I was out there one day, and he had this 45. So he said, "There's something I want you to hear." So he put it on as a 45 or the original version on the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm listening to the bottle, and it's over. So he turned it. I said, "What's on the other side?" He said, "I played it for you," and he flipped it. So I was doing something, and I'm listening. How I'm not really paying attention. About halfway through the tune, it occurred to me that I know this tune. I know where the chords are going on the whole thing, and I stopped to listen. And that shit was the other side. I said, "Wait, hold on a minute. Stop it. What's the title of that?"
Yeah.
He said, "Home is where the hatred is." The tempo was way different. That's the first time I heard the original. And I had been playing with Gil for a couple of years.
Really?
You know, it's the first time I heard the original version of Home is where the hatred is.
Was after you had already been playing that with him.
I've been playing with him. And
Wow.
we've been playing
That's
the
that
other
is
side,
that's
which is what it had become. We've been playing the other side of concerts for a while. You know, I thought it was just one of the things that he put together.
and the tempo was way different. Way different.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was okay. You get the album Spirits.
Oh, by the way, Larry, just FYI, I mean, Gil's looking. I can feel Gil's spirit because I've been holding on to this. I only really listen to vinyl, but I have this show from Bremen, Germany, April 1983.
Yep.
You are part of that band. And in fact, now in my brain, the lightning bolt just went off. That in fact, when he announces the band, Brother Larry McDonald on conga, you know, he'd say, and that is by far my favorite live Gil Scott. I've never heard anything. That is the hottest band, the hottest show I've ever heard. And I'm just, I was 5 years old at that time. Beautiful preservation of that, because that was magic, man. That was the band.
Yeah, we used to play Bremen all the time. There was this, like, I think this was this radio station, television station, one time that had it some anniversary, 15-year anniversary, 20-year anniversary or whatever. And they had 5 bands set up in the studio.
Right.
At the same time. You know, including a band that was led by Abe Laboriel and Alex Acuna.
What year was this?
It might even have, oh God, I'm terrible with years, man.
No, but I mean, like, okay, God, all right.
This is 80s, I think.
Okay.
Still 80s. But that I hadn't seen. That was the first time I was running into Abe since I left Mexico in '69. Actually, he left Mexico before me to come to Berkeley, come to school up here.
Sure.
I was playing with his band. I was playing traps with Abe Laboriel. I was playing horrible traps, I'm telling you.
With Laboriel. Laboriel was everywhere. I mean, that guy, I can't believe you're playing traps with, this is mind-blowing, man.
It was terrible. I don't want to admit it, but it happened.
You're not going to get those tapes.
Before somebody pulls it out of the woodwork.
That's right. You better hide it.
Explain this. I'm confessing. Okay, I was a terrible trap drummer, but he was playing guitar at the time, And he left, and I hadn't seen him again. And one night I'm channel surfing, and I passed this quartet with a symphony behind them. So I backed up and was listening to it, and I'm looking at this guy, and I'm saying, I know this guy, bass player. And it was some Henry Mancini, I think, conducting the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra with something or another for orchestra and jazz quartet. So I'm listening to it and looking at it, and what threw me was the fact that he was playing bass. The last time I saw him, he was playing guitar. It was Abe.
Oh my God!
You know, but I never saw him in the flesh until that concert in Bremen. I have pictures.
Wait. Abe was on bass.
I have pictures from Mexico of the band, the group in Mexico.
I need to hear tapes of that. But wait, hold on. Did you ever play with Abe in Mexico, and you didn't play traps? Did you ever just play percussion?
No.
Oh no! You need to get those tapes out, Larry.
Huh?
You need to get those tapes out. I want to hear that.
We don't have it. This was back then. They didn't have, it wasn't like now you could record this stuff on your phone.
Right.
This was in '67, man.
What was the instrumental makeup of that band? You obviously, besides bass and drums.
It was Abe on guitar, myself on traps, and a bass player named Fernando Baena, and three girls, 2 American and 1 Mexican. Michelle Hoff, La Marta Noble, and Maria Elena Carter Reyes. They were the singers. God.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, we're going. No, listen, but let's just plan to do a part 3, okay? My battery's going to die. So
we haven't even gotten anywhere yet.
Not really, man.